Kia ora and welcome to Cinema in Context, where we discuss all things film and the connections between. My name is Sarah Watt.
I'm William Chen.
And I'm Jeremy Downing.
And each month at Cinema in Context, we discuss two films, one current and one retrospective, with some connection. It might be they have the same director, the same actor, or a similar theme. Well, this month we're going to be discussing Disclosure Day, directed by Steven Spielberg, which came out this year, and Minority Report, directed by Steven Spielberg, which came out in 2002. The connection being, well, partly that both are directed by Steven Spielberg, but also both are set somewhat in the sci-fi genre. As usual on Cinema in Context, we like to speak freely, so we will be spoilering both films. So if either is on your watch list, then get out there and see it before listening to our episode. Otherwise, sit back and prepare to be astounded by our insights and our connections. So, William, why don't you tell us a little bit about Disclosure Day from 2026?
Okay, so, guys.
Oh, it's been a while.
It has been.
We haven't had a guys for many an episode.
That's true.
So, I just watched the latest sci-fi extravaganza from a master filmmaker who came to power in the 1970s, in which he talks earnestly to the audience about what's really on his mind. The film stars a brooding actor with large ears who needs to reveal to humanity the mother of all truths, but is in turn hounded by a powerful man who is scared of the uncertain future that will be heralded. Our hero is paired up with an empathetic heroine. Is there any other type? And together, they must forge a new destiny for mankind, all while dodging assassins, falling objects from the sky, massive lens flares, and shoddy CGI. But enough about Francis Ford Coppola's Megalopolis!
Oh my God!
I was thinking War of the Worlds.
Right.
Did anyone get Megalopolis vibes from this?
No.
I was like, Spielberg...
I forgot about that movie.
Do you know why I didn't?
Yes.
Will be what we're coming to is the desaturated colour. And because they look so different, I did not. But I hear you now. Yeah.
So anyway, in all seriousness, ladies and gentlemen, Disclosure Day is Spielberg. He does love quoting things.
Yeah.
Spielberg returning to one of his fascinations, which is aliens. I mean, we are talking about E.T., we are talking about Close Encounters, we're talking about Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, we're talking about War of the Worlds, right? Is there any more? There must be more, but this guy loves aliens.
Did he do AI, artificial
He
intelligence?
did, yeah.
They're not aliens.
Oh, are they aliens at the end? Maybe.
There's aliens at the end, eh?
Yeah. But yeah, so this time round, Josh O'Connor and Emily Blunt are these apparently unrelated people who are dragged into a massive government cover/conspiracy/ there's a lot more happening about the appearance and the disclosure of information about aliens.
Thanks, William. Jeremy, hit us up. Take our minds back to 2002 when Minority Report wowed us all.
Nice. Well, Minority Report is, as you said, a Steven Spielberg directed film written by Scott Frank and John Cohen, based on a story by Philip K. Dick, one of the greatest science fiction writers of our time. And it stars none other than Tom Cruise himself. He is charged with, he's part of a team called Pre-Crime, so he's charged with discerning information from the precogs, these three beings that kind of have premonitions about what's to happen. And they have premonitions about murders. And they no longer have premonitions about premeditated murders because, well, pre-crime has sorted those out, but only murders of passion, red-blooded murders. And so they have to quickly find out who the people are involved and then go and stop the murder from happening, arrest the person before they commit the crime, and that's kind of what they do. I guess the turning point of the movie is that one of the premonitions shows Tom Cruise's character himself, and he's confused because he doesn't even know the person that he's supposed to be murdering, and that's kind of where our story kicks into gear, where he has to escape and eventually steal a precog to discover whether she has a minority report, aka a disagreement with the premonition, so therefore, well, he might not be arrested and done for this murder after all. Yeah.
So, despite the fact the Minority Report doesn't technically have aliens in it, because the precogs, the best of them being played by Samantha Morton, are not alien beings. They're just beings with sort of telekinetic, the other one. That's right. Amazing powers. I have to say that when watching both films, my first connection, and you're going to love this, Colin Farrell.
Damn.
There we are. Drops mic. So there we go. And that really is the only
They're both
main
from the
connection.
United Kingdom.
And that's the other thing. How many British people are there now on our screens?
And Disclosure Day.
Marvellous.
And they all have accents. And they all sound pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess where we normally start is, how did y'all feel about each of these films? So, Jeremy, how did you feel about Disclosure Day? Because that was something, obviously, that I think it's fair to say we were anticipating and kind of looking forward to. The trailer seemed super exciting, and Spielberg is a beloved director. So how did that go down for you?
And I think the other element to this is that it was getting really mixed reviews in the sense that some people were loving it and some people were really critical of it. So I was quite excited to sort of see for myself what the deal was. I think Disclosure Day, on the one hand, is this really wonderful, nostalgic ride through Steven Spielberg's oeuvre, I guess. It's sort of these little tidbits and moments from all of his movies. And without it feeling too on the nose, I think I did half expect an E.T. to pop up, but it didn't do that. And, there's that kind of central relationship between Josh O'Connor and Emily Blunt's character, which is very similar to the two leads in Close Encounters of the Third Kind. So on the one hand, it's great. You've got the John Williams score in there. You've got some
and also
incredible...
similar to the two leads in Minority Report.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in a little bit.
And you've got John Williams. You've got some really great action set pieces. So on that side of things, I had a really good time. On the other hand, it is extremely out of touch and out of date in terms of its idea. I mean, the whole central premise that people will just believe if it goes through a televised newscasting, and they could have just posted on the internet the whole time, is ludicrous to me. I think the fact that we've got AI, and there is a bit of spotlighting there when they're like, it's verified real.
I know, that's one line that absolves the entire plot.
And I'm like, people don't believe the visual medium.
No.
I think that the belief that people would stay even remotely interested in like hours of videos, and everyone's looking at their phones. I'm like, people would be swiping on TikTok to the next
100%.
video in 2 seconds.
Yeah.
And I think the biggest thing is that what's really out of touch is that there's this government conspiracy that we just need to get the truth out there at a time when people are believing really silly conspiracy theories. I think it feels like a movie from 30 or 40 years ago.
Yeah. Did either of you feel, as I did, I don't care? I don't care. I kind of believe that maybe there are other beings out there now. I'm not back in Roswell time. And so over the decades, and don't get me wrong, I'm not laying my cards on the table and saying I believe in aliens, but I don't 100% disbelieve in aliens, and it doesn't feel like a very current concern.
See, I think if the film had done that, and it would not be a Spielberg film if it had done that, but if they'd got there and broadcast it and nobody cared,
Yes!
it would be far more pertinent to how we're feeling about
Well, that's
the
my
world
view.
today.
But what about you, William?
I am right there with you guys.
Yeah.
So there's a scene around halfway where Jane, the girlfriend
She's
character.
great. She's a great actor.
Do you know she's Bono's daughter?
Yeah, Eve Hewson. Eve Hewson.
She was great.
She was great, yeah.
So she is finally being shown the videos, right? That Josh O'Connor's character has been smuggling out of the company of Wardex, and the footage that we see is like a pretty obvious CGI alien being tortured, and her expression just did not match what was shown on screen, right?
Great acting though. She
Yes.
sold the moment. She did her job.
She did sell the
Yes.
moment.
Yeah.
She did sell it.
A
but-
real person would be like, what the F is this?
Yeah.
Right? Like,
yeah.
Yes, so the Spielbergness of it all is the main drawing card here, right? It is a film that has so much of that energy. I mean, compared to Minority Report, it's not as propulsive, right? The pacing is a little different.
Yeah, no. Mm.
But you have everything. You have Janusz Kaminski coming back to do cinematography.
Yeah, there's some
the
nice
lighting.
moves.
The lighting is beautiful.
Yeah.
I mean, I kind of laughed about the lens flares, but there's some work with lens flares, especially near the end of the movie where they're in the recreation of the house, like, oh my gosh, if this was done in camera, well done. It's so beautiful. The central chase sequence with the train is really, really good.
The wild animals were really oh wait.
Oh gosh, when that fox appeared, I was
Oh
like, you don't
my-
believe that's a real fox, dude.
my-
But that's just the
goodness.
reference to Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
Oh my gosh.
But then I thought, oh, okay, so it's an alien projection of a fox, so maybe it's supposed to look like...
You are such an apologist. Okay, keep going.
John Williams, the score is really nice. It's really traditional and has like the... Dun, 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 dun. You know, that Spielberg reminds me of a lot of the indie scores.
Yeah.
The use of camera and framing, I mean, Spielberg,
Well, Spielberg,
is just...
that's what he does,
Woo!
right? That's his bread and butter.
Like, you know what character is supposed to be, you know, what they're thinking, who's supposed to be important in what scene, just through the framing of the camera. And it's done with such a steady hand. I love that stuff. But then the story is just, it's kind of nothing, right? Like, you're right, Jeremy. The whole, we're not going to release all of this stuff online. We need newscasters, you know, the trusted...
Kansas City
the
regional TV.
Yeah, I know.
the Cassandras of our time.
But maybe that is why. Maybe that is because it's blatantly a small station and it can be trusted more perhaps than...
The big boys.
absolutely, it's not Fox, it's not CNBC or whatever.
I also don't believe that many people are being employed anymore by those organizations.
No.
You know, there's huge newsrooms of people all talking. I'm like, this is like Network from the 70s.
Yeah.
And Spielberg obviously loves that stuff. Like, that takes a large chunk of the finale. It's just people scrambling to put the news out. But, yeah, if you know, Disclosure Day did happen, would people actually care?
Yeah.
No, we've seen politicians, namely one of one country, have multiple disclosure days about their behaviour, and it hasn't made a jot of difference.
I think the other thing that's the issue, and this I'm just making this up as I go. Welcome to this podcast. But honestly, thinking about the issue at hand, as I said to you, and I'm not trying to be disrespectful or unkind here, but alien presence is not a big deal to me. And I think one of the issues would be if there was something nowadays, which topic would be the thing that really did bring the world together so that everybody in Times Square or whatever would stop and look at their phones. And there'd be some who would go, don't care, don't believe it. Some who go, oh my gosh, my life has changed. And then, the old 10%, 80%, 10%. So then there would have to be a disclosure of something else that other people would get caught up in. And
Here's the thing, right? Aliens, I'm sure it would be the case if they were deadly aliens, a la Watchmen, right?
Or Independence Day, or most other. Yeah, that's right.
Like how Watchmen...
War of the Worlds.
Exactly.
Yeah.
How all of
if
these
we're
things,
in peril, then
unite
yes,
humanity.
Absolutely.
But what I find hilarious is they have... dozens of hours of footage, of Air Force footage, of drone footage. And you have that wonderful scene of Josh O'Connor at the end sweatily trying to dump data from USB drives. Like, oh my God.
Yeah.
And then it turns out that friggin' Coleman Domingo has a live alien this whole time.
I know.
And he's going to speak to the people. Why don't you start with that, guys? Start with that.
Oh my gosh.
But also, it's so unpractical. You would dump that online. Even just broadcasting that is shaky camera. You'd lose viewers like that.
That's a plot point as well, right? Like, Colin Farrell is like, has he dumped the data on the internet? And one of his underlings is like, no, sir, he hasn't done it. He must have something bigger planned.
Oh, I see. You see, I missed that line.
What did you think? What were your thoughts, Sarah?
So disappointed. Bro, I had watched this trailer and gone, this is something I'm super excited for. Love Emily, love Josh, and right now, obviously, and I know we're all going to agree, and the whole world agrees already, Emily's terrific.
That's the best parts of the movie.
Absolutely.
And Josh O'Connor's great, but he's more of the plot character.
He doesn't even have a good character to play.
He's just the plot. He's the plot driver. But that moment the Cardinal comes in and then she's... just the joy of her talking to people in different languages.
Her ability to switch within a scene, I think all of us as performance people can appreciate is brilliant acting.
Yeah.
And in particular, that I'm a huge languages fan, obsessive, and her ability to switch from speaking Korean, what's the first language?
Russian, right?
She starts in Russian, so she segues from English into Russian and then into Korean. It's almost a one-shot kind of malarkey. She is amazing. And with that, those nuanced, that nuanced performance of her switching, oh yes, I'm earnestly talking to you in Korean and we know what we're doing, and then I'm going to have a moment of, what just happened? And it's all in one shot. And she's amazing. And she brings credibility. It's a lovely character because she is like the Reese Witherspoon from the morning show, who starts off I'm just a weather presenter who has bigger dreams and all that. The rest of it, Eve Hewson was great, but the novitiate nun thing is, I actually felt not touched, but I liked that being her part. And I liked also that it wasn't an anti-religious film. And I will just say one of my connections, not my first, but one of many, is, did you notice, I didn't until a subsequent viewing of Minority Report, in Disclosure Day, there's that moment outside the house. Don't get me started on the building of that house by Coleman Domingo.
Why?
But there's that moment.
Why?
We have cameras and photos in our reality.
Oh my God. But there's
Why
that
not just have
moment.
her bedroom as well? All they used was the bedroom.
Because it'll be comforting for her to revisit the situation. Just stick some VR goggles on her, bro.
Exactly.
But anyway, point being, there's that moment. Do you remember when one of the crew sort of kneels before her and crosses herself or kisses her cross or something like that, as if Emily Blunt's character is this deity because she is, has this telepathic ability and all this sort of thing. Now, interestingly, there is a moment in Minority Report where
the tech guy,
the way that there's somebody who treats Samantha Morton. I can't remember now.
It's the tech guy, because Tom Cruise goes to the provider of his tech to try and download a version of her
that's
brain.
right.
And he sees her and it's like, she's real. And
That's
he
right, and
kneels down
he
and
drops and crosses
Yeah.
himself. So I thought, that's a nice crossover because again, you see, Agatha has that ability to premonish, whatever things, and so that amazing ability to connect through the mind, to connect through things unspoken, to see into someone else's mind. So there's a wonderful, Samantha Morton and Emily Blunt, both British actresses playing Americans, sort of. There's a wonderful connection
Emily Blunt
there.
is really Jesus coded in a
Yes.
lot of the movie, right? Like the scene which reminded me a lot of that scene from Children of Men, where she enters the enemy's lair and then comes out just by, becoming what they want to see.
Yeah.
And then one of them is like, she's unstoppable. You know?
Yeah.
And there's also a lot of it which reminded me of like Gethsemane, right? She has this power, but she doesn't want it, right? She kind of talks to some higher power. In this case, other people around who kind of know what's going on. Like, why is this happening to me? I don't want this.
Yeah.
So I thought that was a pretty good
Except
thing.
that she does also, you're right, it's a really nice analysis actually, William, I realised, because she does actually, when she said, I have no time for Kurt Russell's son whatsoever, Wyatt.
I thought he was great.
No, I have no time for
Is
Wyatt.
he the boyfriend?
Yeah. So can I just say, and then I'll come back to that bit. One of my big issues is I was so up for this film. I did not go in cynically at all. And I didn't like the performances from the get-go. I thought that Josh, this is really subtle, and if maybe in a different evening or whatever, I might have felt differently, but I felt that Josh was performing. Eve, I did not think was performing. I thought she was very natural. Emily was performing, but somehow it worked because she was playing a particular character. Wyatt, for some reason, the I could not care less boyfriend, I found a little bit mannered and just annoying. But anyway, quite aside from that, I've gone off on a tangent and I really want to get back to
Well, while you're thinking about that,
because it was really good what I was going to say. Don't let me tangent again.
I have to say that I think this movie, in say 20 years, if people go back and watch this, I think it would be more enjoyable because as a film, I thought it was a really well put together movie. And my issues with it are just that it's so out of touch and out of date of the realities of what we live in today. Whereas 20 years time, people won't necessarily know the realities of...
That's true.
They might kind of think of it as being still relevant. And so I thought, beat by beat, it's a great story.
I didn't think beat by beat it was. I liked that they threw us in at the beginning, a bit like Minority Report. They
That's
throw
cool.
us right into...
It's like we're in Act 3, you know? Like,
and I like that they didn't spell it all out.
yeah.
And then it kind of clunk to clunk to clunk. I didn't enjoy Coleman Domingo. It took me out of it, but that's neither here nor there really. But I didn't think, you see, it wasn't propulsive for me. And suddenly they're on a quest, and then they're hanging off a train, kind of gripping, kind of good. Then he drives the car through that whole business. I know I'm being picky. I'm so sorry. But that whole business with Josh O'Connor approaching the house, and everyone is...
they can't hear him.
Well, they can't even see him.
Yeah.
And and he goes around and jumps in the car and then crashes into a tree and then drives off.
When Judy, my partner, and I were watching it, and that scene happened, she turned to me and went and said something, nasty.
Yeah.
I was like, why? Why is this happening?
Why did nobody notice when he ran around and they were looking the wrong way?
It's not like they're trained Black Ops operatives or whatever they are.
Here's the thing, right? In both movies, and it's really evident in Disclosure Day and kind of played for laughs in Minority Report, our super agents are buffoons.
But that's a trope, right? That's a classic trope. You need the dumb policeman for the story to move forward.
It's the Keystone Cops.
Yeah.
There's that scene, and also when he drives the car off the cliff, and the super agent's like, oh, he's dead, and he's literally behind a rock. Within hearing.
And then they run off. The other people are still there.
What are
they
we
are
doing?
not prudent at all.
There's no aerial surveillance.
No.
There's no one who just sticks around being like,
Let's just see if anyone floats to the surface of the water. Although I have a problem with that scene as well, because I looked very carefully. They drove along. She goes, you got to stop. You would not be able to see that was a cliff.
Yeah.
I looked with my own eyes and went, no, you wouldn't. They would have done a Thelma and Louise right off of that, and the film would have been mercifully shorter. But no, I'm being...
Let's talk about Minority Report.
I love that.
One of the things that stood out to me on this watching was how good the script is in terms of
good.
How fast it is. Everything just... I mean, it's. I put it on. It's 2.5 hours long, or 2 hours 27 or something. Thinking I'd watch it in two sittings. One half in that sitting. And I could not turn that movie off.
yeah.
There's never a good time to stop it, is there?
No.
And even though I don't love the woman who played Tom Cruise's wife, Lara, the character's name, didn't love her, but she still was terrific in the film enough, and blimmin' Max von Sydow, and the whole film I thought was absolutely... I think Colin Farrell's really good.
He's really good.
He's really good, and I know that he was having his alcoholic problems, and it was Minority Report or Tom or someone, who kicked him up the bum and said, you need to get your act together.
But that was when Colin Farrell was the hot new kid
He
in
was
town,
hot.
right?
Absolutely. And it's really nicely done, and I feel as though all the performances in that are really, really nicely done. Yeah.
And apart from Von Sydow, you have all these great character actors. Peter Stormare.
Yes.
Tim Blake Nelson is the prison guy.
Yes.
so cool.
Yes.
Yeah.
I do think the third act is silly. It pays everything off, but it's very silly, and the way that they you can tell they just needed some things to happen. I think the wife her character just has to do the things she has to do for the story to work.
Yes.
And I think the way
because otherwise no one's going to save him. There isn't anybody left to save him.
Would you guys agree with the theory about the third act? It's all in his head? How he's been haloed. Tim Blake Nelson said, that they say once you're haloed, everything you want appears in front of you. And so that's all a fantasy of Tom's? Is that
I don't buy
is that
it,
a cop-out?
It's not a cop-out. That's a clip. I wouldn't know. It didn't occur to me at all.
But you're right. The third act, I think the third act just goes on, or maybe it's the fourth act, right? It just goes on for a little bit too long.
It's not that it goes on for too long. It's just that the whole idea of how they capture Max von whatever his name is,
Sydow.
Yeah, and
Lamar,
and just it all becomes a little bit silly. Whereas up until that point, it's been quite sort of measured, and I guess it's really hard to pay off a third act, right?
Yeah.
So
it does have. It definitely has the auspices of a 90s movie, and let's remember that 2002 is practically the 90s, and certainly when they made it, it's pretty much the 90s.
Yeah.
And so are the fashions in the Gap.
I mean, speaking of modern day audiences watching, older film. The fact that Lamar's brought down by video evidence of his crimes.
And that we believed, though, but then it was a smaller group, and that lady fainted.
I love the audience going, when he puts on the balaclava.
Yeah.
I mean, that's another thing, that makes it a little bit silly. It's like, why had they never seen that shot before? Like if they supposedly scrubbed the Minority Report.
They just scrubbed it before they got to that.
Yeah, I'm like, it's such a risk
Oh,
of him.
I see what you mean.
You know, like
Yeah.
why? It was literally in the prequel premonition.
Yeah, but they went, oh no, it's a deja vu, and then didn't bother watching
I know,
it.
but it's such a big risk for him, right?
That's true. The world building, I feel, thank you, Philip K. Dick, and not David Koepp, who wrote Disclosure Day, but the world building in Minority Report is stunning.
Oh, yeah.
And also the acknowledgement. I said to my husband, do you think that Philip K. Dick created all? He said he won't have created every aspect of the visuals of the world. And so, Tom Cruise's what's his name? Thomas Anderton.
Yeah. John Anderton.
Anderton. Is it Anderton in The Matrix, or is it
Anderson?
Anderson. Okay.
I love Neil McDonough as number 2 going Anderton.
That's right. Now that's the other thing. Neil McDonough and all of the SWAT team. Those scenes, the chase scenes, are far more exciting than any of the chase scenes in Disclosure Day. What are those suits called? Those flying
the
suits?
jetpacks?
Yeah.
Well, Sarah, was it just me? Or did the agents in Minority Report just run faster than the agents in Disclosure Day? Like, you see Colin Farrell and he's sprinting. And the people behind him are sprinting.
Yeah.
And it's like Tom is just, he's just getting through because he's Tom Cruise and he runs a little faster than everybody else.
All of the agents in Minority Report felt purposeful and felt, even though we didn't necessarily know names or faces, they all felt like they had a role. Yeah. Whereas to me, Disclosure Day, so I've just come back from Italy, fellas, right? And one of the jokes about Italy is unemployment is relatively low because they completely overemploy, particularly on the ferries around the lakes and seas that I go to, lots and lots of terribly good-looking, tanned, sunglassed Italian men in uniforms to deal with the transportation and stuff like that. There's a lot of standing around. Let's just say it's not as efficient as you might want. And to me...
Are you saying Colin Firth's
office full of like men in black, and there's just a lot of people standing around. And then he goes, leave it to me, and he has his little episode and falls on the floor, and they're all like, quickly help. That happened 3 times, by the way. Why did they not put some provision in here? We know that things often go wrong with our boss when he does this malarkey. Do you know what I mean?
Here's a glass of orange juice.
At very least, here's a glass of orange juice prepared for when this happens again.
Well,
anyway.
One of the MIBs was Hettian Park from... do you guys watch Hannibal?
No.
She was
yes,
a major character in the first season.
But yes, I've seen her in a lot of things. Yeah.
And also his main number 2 is the bully from the In-Betweeners. He was also, I think he was a Slytherin in Harry Potter.
He's the guy who disappeared.
Yes.
And that he holds that magic bit of charcoal.
Oh, we're talking about Disclosure Day.
Yes.
Yeah, and disappears.
Sorry, I was really confused in Minority Report. I was still stuck on the bits where he thrashed around on the ground.
No, not Minority Report. Colin Firth.
Oh, gotcha. That was a cool moment, though.
This is the problem with Colin Firth, Colin Farrell, you see, Jeremy. Easy mistake to make.
Yeah.
I just thought it was, again, going back to the bumbling agents, it was just really played for laughs, I think. Intentionally so in Minority Report. Every time the pre-call crime unit fails to stop a murder, Tom Cruise saves the day, and then they come down through the skylight. It's just so funny, and it happens twice.
Yeah.
Whereas the agents in Disclosure Day, it's like Josh O'Connor's. He's just slipping right under their noses. They're like, oh my God, where'd he go?
And he's only an Edward Snowden. He's not an agent. He has no special skills whatsoever other than being a narc.
Yeah.
And we flipped the car and blocked all our other cars.
Yeah. I agree with you, though, in terms of Minority Report, the world building, and that opening sequence just tells us the rules of this world so succinctly and in such an exciting way.
Really,
and when they're going in and they're trying to find which house it is,
so nicely done.
The rotating merry-go-round.
Did he close the door? Did he? Is the door closed?
Is the door? Yeah, amazing. And I love the spiders. And isn't it nice that for identification purposes they had to see the eyes, and then you know that he's got the fake eyes, and that is all built. That scene where he he's had his eye operation, and there's, well, never mind going to the fridge and accidentally getting the wrong
gross
stuff,
Oh,
which is amazing.
disgusting.
But, you know, the
It's
whole...
such a cruel joke. There's the good milk and the bad milk.
I know. You have to wait this number of hours, otherwise you'll go blind, and he's in the water, and he has to eke up his eye patch. It's so well done.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, and the filming of that's very 2002. Like
It
all of the
is.
overhead shots is very like Kill Bill Volume 1.
But it was lovely. That
It was
overhead
wonderful.
shot
One
going across the
one
apartment.
Yeah.
Gorgeous.
Yeah. I have to say that the cinematography, the lighting, and the over-saturation, and the digital grading hugely dates this movie.
Yeah.
In which one?
In Minority.
It's so blue.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
so blue.
It's very Lord of the
But
Rings.
isn't Disclosure Day looked very similar to me?
Yeah. Oh,
Very washed
very
out.
desaturated,
Yes,
yeah.
yes, and I didn't like it.
But I thought do you know what Minority Report reminded me of? Attack of the Clones. Right? Kind of that same digital feel.
Yeah.
Like everything, you know that a lot of the stuff is real prop work, but it doesn't feel real. And maybe that's just the transition from film into digital.
Maybe.
Well, it reminded me of Lord of the Rings as well, which is all the same time, isn't it? 2002, there was a Lord of the Rings, Attack of the Clones, and Minority Report.
Yeah,
all that
But
same
at least
year.
Minority Report looking fake, would it not be fair to say that it's okay because it is in a futuristic kind of world?
I think that was the logic of why they did it back in the day. I just think now it looks really cheap.
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? I didn't mind as much, and yet I really did not enjoy the look of Disclosure Day one bit. I mean, I hear you with the lens flares, and I always say my friend JJ, you know, JJ Abrams, who I interviewed back in 2010 or something. JJ, we didn't speak about lens flares, I have to admit, in our 8-minute media junket, but I know that, you know, other people do lens flares, so now it feels a bit like, oh, okay. No, but to be fair to Spielberg, look, I don't want anyone writing in and saying Sarah doesn't know what she's talking about, Spielberg's one of the greatest directors of all time, because I know that he is. But I felt as though, this is mean, I hope he's not listening, I felt as though maybe the whole of Disclosure Day belied his age a little, you know.
Absolutely.
He's not too old to make films, don't get me wrong. Was he late? He's 76 or late?
79, I think.
79. But it just felt a little bit old-fashioned and not in a nostalgic way, but in an out-of-date way.
It reminded me of a book I read, or tried reading a few years ago, called Fairy Tale by Stephen King. And Fairy Tale is about a young teenage boy, or you know, he must be 12 or 13, and he's befriended this old guy who lives, you know, the grumpy old man in the end of the street, and he's got this dog, and the grumpy old man ends up going into hospital, and the old guy asks him to look after his dog, and eventually there's like a portal to a world or something somewhere. I never got to that part of the story. Anyways, all of the cues about what this young man does in his life, I was like, kids don't live like that anymore. It feels like he's basing it on his childhood from the 70s, which would be fine if the book was set in the 70s or 60s or whatever it was. But it's
Is everyone
set
else
in-
on their phones?
Yeah,
and
well, it's
he's like riding his bike.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. It's all of that. And I'm like, this is just so out of touch. And I absolutely agree with you. I felt that with Disclosure Day. It's just, you can tell he's a boomer who hasn't actually been in the real world for 50 years.
Yeah.
Because he hasn't.
Yeah.
He's got kids and he's raised kids, but he's Hollywood royalty. And
But isn't it interesting? We talked at the very beginning about this being part of his kaupapa, part of his raison d'être. This is for Spielberg, everybody has said in everything you read online that the existence of aliens is a perennial preoccupation for him, which is all...
He's a true believer.
Absolutely.
it's like Peter Jackson in World War One.
Right.
Or World War Two.
Right? All the
So-
Beatles.
Or the Beatles, yeah.
I don't think for a second that Spielberg's going anywhere and we won't see more films from him. But it reminded, the only extent to which it did maybe remind me of Metropolis, William, is that...
Megalopolis or Metropolis?
Oh, sorry. Megalopolis, I'm sorry. It's that kind of, this is the film I want to make.
Yeah.
This is the film about what's troubling me right now and something
Yeah.
that has always been on my heart, if you will, like Coppola might have. Do you know what I mean? Because
It's
his was a
interesting.
lot about values
Yeah,
and all
I mean,
that, wasn't it?
Megalopolis, I mean, Disclosure Day for me is a far better film than Megalopolis.
Yeah.
But Megalopolis is a far more interesting film in terms of ideas, right? And I think it's quite a good, both in that sort of as an extreme synthesis of what those two directors offer, because Spielberg always gives us really well put together films.
Yeah.
That are pretty mainstream. He's helped craft the mainstream, hasn't he?
Yes.
Whereas, Coppola's films are always mainstream
Edgy.
adjacent.
Yeah,
Sort of
that's
pushing something
And dividing...
I mean, Megalopolis was, as we've talked about in our episode, was a mess.
Yeah.
and silly and tonally out of whack.
But it
man, there was
wasn't
some
without
cool stuff.
ideas.
No,
That's
it was
exactly
great.
right.
It was,
At least it had an ethos.
I mean, literally, it was all ideas.
Yeah.
All the ideas in one movie.
And you see, I then think about my mate Marty Scorsese, who's obviously of their generation and of their ilk, although Marty's 83 now. But he continues to make films, and some of them are very value-driven. Obviously, Silence, which I know was over a decade now, very, very values-driven. The one that suddenly escapes me with Leonardo DiCaprio and
Killers of a Flower Moon.
Yeah.
wonderful film.
And Wolf of Wall Street. He's made some brilliant movies in his later life.
Absolutely, but Killers of the Flower Moon, I was thinking in particular.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, films that he might be thinking, if this were my last one, this is the message that I.
Yeah, well, that's why I brought up the comparison at the beginning, right? Like, watching Disclosure Day just gave me that sense of an outer statesman of the art, who's out there using this film as a platform to kind of tell the kids what the world is really about, like what I truly believe in. And it being endearing. I didn't really like Disclosure Day, but I feel like I'm defending it because it has a lot of good going for it. And it is really, really true, right? It's endearing. It is very.
Do you mean true as in it's not disingenuous or?
I think it's really truly what Spielberg
It's
believes
honest.
in.
It's honest to him. You're right.
Yeah.
It is guileless. I
Yeah.
would say, which is. I think you're right. It's not cynical.
That's right. Oh no, it is far from cynical.
Yeah.
At the end, how humanity is changed by the reveal of this massive
Yeah.
truth. And maybe that's a fantasy world that he believes can be possible.
Yeah.
I don't know. But that also reminds me of Adam Driver having his grandiose speeches in Megalopolis about how, with this change and how we live, the world can be a better place.
Well, what's the last line of Disclosure Day? It's Emily Blunt saying, "Listen." And the fact that her character is powerful in the film because she listens to other people, even if it's sort of telepathetically, but that...
It's literally, it's the epitome of, I know what you're going to say, but yeah, I know what you're saying.
But it's quite lovely. That is lovely. So when I came out of Disclosure Day, as disappointed as I was in its mechanics, and I didn't enjoy most of the performances, or as I say, the technique with which it was made, there were some very lovely moments, and I did appreciate the underlying values in it all very much. And so I don't think it is worthless or not worth seeing, but it is just not the exciting Spielberg film that I really wanted.
Yeah, fair enough. I like the ending. I thought the listen line was a nice way to end, and I
I don't think there's any other way to end.
No, and it's like, it doesn't matter what they said, right?
I just felt like the build-up to the ending was so silly.
I didn't like them wheeling the alien out.
And also how once Colin Farrell sits down and defeats,
Yeah.
the rest of the baddies like, well, I guess that's
That's it!
Well,
there's the boss.
That henchman, that main henchman,
Yeah.
and he just starts trying to shoot them on the train as well. It's
Yeah.
like, this is
And then he's just like,
plotty.
oh, dang it. And he turns around and leaves the
I
building.
know, like
Yeah.
has a strop and goes, oh, fine
so
then.
funny.
I'm going to go off and cause trouble somewhere
Oh,
else.
Yeah.
However,
that's
I was getting really bored of the movie at that point until, and the one bit where I perked up was the invisible house. That was heaps of fun.
Did you?
Did you not like the invisible house
I
or the
was-
people running into invisible objects? And I went, oh.
A little bit,
yeah,
but
that
I
was
think
cool.
I was so disheartened. It was too steep a hill for me to climb, William, because I was so by stupid Coleman Domingo's cardigan and his earpiece, and that ridiculousness, and the whole horrible scene that comes before it. The whole kind of, and also why are they both white characters of a certain age?
yeah.
That's antiquated. We wouldn't have that
it's amazing
nowadays.
because Coleman Domingo is the magic Negro, right?
Sure, yes. No, but I mean Josh and Emily. Do
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Anyway, you get your two Brits sitting there and they're
But
kind
also-
of holding hands with no chemistry whatsoever. And I don't mean romantic, I just mean there was no chemistry whatsoever.
But also, the whole logic of this plan, so let's abduct two children with the hope that one day they find each other and promote this thing through network television. Like, what if one of them died in their
they would have kept her
years?
alive. They would have kept her alive.
But then they
Jeremy.
try again.
But why does the Cardinal come through the window at her that day, but they knew about Josh 10 years ago? I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, you're right. Why are her powers unlocked? Like,
In that moment.
what was it, 36 hours prior to?
Although I
to
liked
how
her
it happens?
speaking dolphin. I thought that was amazing. I did. I thought she was amazing. Everything she did was amazing. Even the way she fainted was amazing. But I thought it was... But I did not like the flashbacks of the two children to the... although juxtaposition, I suppose, with... good old Elliot and E.T., isn't it? The two people lying on the tables and
that's right.
And I must just say before we end, I can't remember what it was I was going to say before, William, when I interrupted myself.
Good recuperation.
I will listen to this podcast and I will shout at it and go, that's what I wanted to say.
People will imbue your thoughts through the
Hopefully,
shouting.
hopefully they'll go, that's what she wanted to say.
All right, last thoughts. What do people think?
Well, I mean, we've not talked much about Minority Report. I just want to emphasize, I think we all love it, right?
Yes.
I think this is...
It's not perfect, but yes.
It's not, but I think as kind of an elevated B movie, it is a rollicking good ride.
Yes.
Like, oh my God, I think it's one of my favorite Spielberg movies.
Yes.
Like, watching it again. And there's so many things that my brother and I quote all the time. The Anderton! And what are you gonna do, Lamar? What are you gonna do?
Right.
But like, oh my gosh, the overall like momentum of the movie, especially when he breaks Samantha Morton out of pre-crime, and they're on the run, and she has the whole premonition thing. It's like, wait, and Balloon Guy comes along.
Oh!
That stuff's so much fun.
That's like Jason Bourne in
the third one.
In the Bourne Ultimatum.
With Patty Considine.
Where he's saying, stop, now bend and tie your shoe.
Yeah.
It was absolute, that was an amazing scene.
Yeah, so much fun.
Yeah.
And like, I just forgot how much joy the movie has in kind of being goofy, how Tom is built into a car.
Yes!
And then the agents are like, is he dead? Is he dead? And his
like,
head
he
pops
pops up.
You're going, oh crap.
And it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't need to make sense.
It doesn't make sense that the car is then able to drive off.
Yeah. And the scene where he's fighting Colin Farrell on the big gurney, like that's something straight out of Indiana Jones, right? And it's also cued musically like it's an indie fight. And it's great. It's good stuff.
Yeah.
And these big ideas, like it's not stupid. There's a lot of stuff about, morality and ethics.
And actually the ethics of it are interesting because I, a very, very liberal, a very defense-oriented criminal lawyer trained person, actually think that that pre-crime, that's not such a terrible thing. And yet philosophically it is absolutely unethical to say that you will be punished for something that you did not do, even if in some future we know that you did do it, So that's how good Samantha Morton is, because she sold it to me that if she saw it, it must be true. So my ethics went out the window. But you're right, it's an interesting idea, right? Yeah.
And Samantha Morton, what a performance. I mean, that could have been so stodgy in the wrong hands, but she makes the character alive.
Her face is stunning. Yeah. There are close-ups on Agatha, and she's doing work. It's beautiful. Yeah.
So gosh, Minority Report rules. And then Disclosure Day does not, but it's not without its qualities. It's just, as all of you guys are saying, I agree with you 100%. Its head is just really in an odd place. Yeah. And really, as you said, Jeremy, it's very boomer coded.
Yeah, I think he probably thought of the idea 20 years ago and has been, it's been brooding and he's made it now.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess these movies, sometimes they take a lot to get going. It's one of the hardest things is to get a film made.
Off the ground.
And so, who knows, maybe that if it had come out, 20 years ago.
Maybe if he'd shot it for, I don't know, $750,000 and put it on YouTube.
Yeah.
And maybe done a little bit of YouTube comedy, he might have made a better film.
Yeah.
It might have made more money at the box office.
This is true. Cool. Sarah, last thoughts?
I think we all know that Disclosure Day was a big frickin' disappointment for me on almost every level. Minority Report, I think I like more and more each time, and I'm an absolute sucker for the world building and all that stuff. And so, interesting that I can't forgive the performance issues in Disclosure Day, but I can forgive sort of performance or acting-y kind of issues in Minority Report. One thing I am interested in is whether a film like Disclosure Day will garner Emily Blunt an Oscar nomination, because there's been a bit of buzz about that, and I don't think I'm speaking hyperbolically. I think she does a lot of the things that, Oscar performances do. So that would be interesting to see. But I feel very sorry for Josh O'Connor because he's very du jour, and therefore Spielberg will have said, I want to work with you, and he will have been stoked to do so. And I feel sad for him because he's an excellent actor and he can do anything, and he did very well with what was on the page for him. And I just feel it was an uninspired performance, role, and I feel sorry for Josh because that might be his Spielberg moment. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So those are my sad thoughts.
Nice. Well, I, really enjoyed going back to Minority Report. I think I agree with you, William. It would definitely be my top 10 Spielberg of all time. I mean, Spielberg, like Ridley Scott, brilliant director, films often rest on how good their scripts are.
Yes.
And I think this is these two films are good examples of that. But no, I really enjoyed going back to Minority Report. As I said, the third act is very silly. I mean, the whole conundrum about whether Max, whatever his name is going to shoot him or not.
Yeah.
There's a sort of catch-22. I'm like,
Well, it's kind of a paradox.
Well, I know, but it's like that's going to dismantle pre-crime.
Yeah.
But anyways, we'll just go with it, film. I mean,
No,
that
you
same...
need that and also his crimes broadcasted to the party, right?
Like, most of them probably know that they're all probably murderers as well, let's be honest. They're all the Epsteins of the world. Right? And, I think that's another thing I thought about the Epstein files with the Disclosure Day dropping of stuff. I'm like, this Spielberg, do you know what world you live in?
Yeah.
Really not. And I thought Disclosure Day, as I said, I had a really good time in the cinema. And then at the end I was like, this was so stupid. But, as I said, beat by beat, I still enjoyed myself.
Would your views on the film have changed if the pod opened and it was actually E.T.?
Yeah.
Or would it?
No, I would have. It would have really thrown. I would have really thrown my hands up because, as you know, I'm not a huge E.T. fan anyway.
I don't think I would have. I think I would have thought that lowered it. I mean, it would have been on the one hand really nice, and on the other hand, no. Now you're taking a Mickey.
It's a one shared universe.
Well, you see, if it had done that, that might have been better.
I mean, that's another Stephen King connection, right? This film did feel like that Stephen King weaving together all of his stories into one big Dark Tower universe,
Yeah.
But like, do you know? Just came to me. Do you guys know what movie the ending of Disclosure Day reminded me of? Glass.
I've seen that.
Do you remember
seen that connection.
The end of Glass, where they show the footage of Bruce Willis and Sam Jackson fighting, and McAvoy, right? And then just the mere fact that footage is on YouTube unlocks all these latent superhero abilities around the populace.
Oh.
It's like, M. Night Shyamalan, that's not how people watch YouTube videos. Yeah. Like, people see it, it's like, oh, that's cool. Next.
Yeah.
Apparently someone said, Doug told me this, apparently someone said on the internet that if Disclosure Day had been made by M. Night Shyamalan, everyone would just go, yep, that fits. Kind of thing, a bit more than the fact that it's Spielberg and we're all like, what's going on?
Yeah, I think because M. Night Shyamalan's got more of a career of silly ideas and he somehow makes into movies.
Yes! Well, thank you for listening to us rant and rave in another episode of Cinema in Context. If you enjoy listening to our podcast, please recommend us to your cinema-loving friends. And you can find us to listen to more of our older episodes on SoundCloud, Spotify, and where all great podcasts can be found. You can also follow us on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook, and those are great places to let us know what you thought of this episode, as well as give us suggestions for future films to discuss and compare. Look out for our next episode that'll come out in a month's time, and until then, no more mai.